Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command, World War II, World at War. It is June 1942, the summer offensive for the Nazis just began, the Nazis, or the German Wehrmacht, or whatever, and we are driving in two places actually at once. We are not doing the full-blown invasion everywhere route, but we are advancing here south in the southerly direction of Moscow. We just destroyed multiple Soviet air units down here, as well as an armored unit. We took the town of Bryansk this turn, and we also took the town of Kaluga this turn. We're threatening Oral, and we're kind of driving south of Moscow here. I don't know if we're going to try and flank Moscow. Probably more of a direct approach. But I'm not sure if I have the strength or not to take the sacred city. Meanwhile, at the same time, we identified a target of opportunity in the south of Russia. It wasn't a full-blown Stalingrad offensive. This isn't Operation or Case Blue. But we did notice a vulnerable pocket near Kharkov here in the south, which historically was the location of a major disaster for the Soviets that opened up the opportunity for the Battle of Kursk. But we penetrated through here, destroyed one Soviet infantry unit on the frontier. We destroyed one Soviet infantry unit back here after we had surrounded 4 Russian corps. And we now have 3 more remaining Russian corps all surrounded near Kharkov. Their supply hit should kick in next turn, and hopefully we'll be able to keep up the pressure on them. Meanwhile, we are going to bank some money going into next turn. 389 points for the Germans, 132 for the Italians, 47 for the Japanese. Unless there's any actual diplomacy that we want to accomplish. Argentina's very pro-Axis. We could try and bring them into the war, but that wouldn't really do us a whole lot of good, I don't think. Is there anyone else that we really want to try and convince? Is there anybody else that's even close to joining the Axis? Not really. Venezuela could, maybe. Argentina, as we already said. Yeah, there's no one else that really would make any sense to try and use any money on. But we might want to declare war on the New Guinea area here, because currently we can't land our troops on New Guinea until we're at war with them. We are at war with the Australians, interestingly enough. And we just landed troops on the Malay Peninsula. I don't think I have any supply for these guys, so they're going to be kind of fighting without supply. But theoretically, they at least cut off the supply for the British back through Singapore, although Kotoburu and Penang both generate supply, being ports on the sea. We did just take Corregidor, and the Chinese capital of Chongqing is at risk. The city of Sian in the north is also at risk. So that's currently the situation. With that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump forward to July. Let's see what the Allies do for their turn. U.S. morale suffers for the loss of Guam. Japan celebrates. Yes, sail through to the Atlantic. The Roma battleship is launched by the Italian Navy near Venice. Greek partisans are disrupting supply near Larissa. Partisan activity continues in China. Interesting, they attacked a place where we had a garrison. That's bold. British commandos are raiding Calais. And more hindering of supply lines in Malta. Meanwhile, Japanese convoys being raided by whoever that is, a French colony. Bataan occupied by Japan. Japan develops level 3 fighters. I feel like Japan's economy took a really big hit a couple months before the Americans entered the war. Like, it's been shrinking ever since. And I don't know if that's just a reflection of you're cut off from American markets, so your economy's much less effective, or what. But the game doesn't do a good job of explaining it, other than the fact that Japan had nearly a 600 income early in the war, and now only has a 260 income later in the war. So that's interesting, I guess. Shit. Royal Air Force just destroyed the last of our air wing on the Graf Zeppelin. Meanwhile, the Allied navies appear to be mostly pulling out back toward their ports. They did attack the one submarine there. Okay. Actually, last turn was the first time, I think, that we actually fought against the Chinese communists. Okay. Meanwhile, I don't know if that's a new unit being raised in Sian, or if that was a new unit brought in, but it's only a corps. I think they had an army unit there before, so that's a positive development, I think. Soviet heavy tanks here, just south of Tula. See if they attack. Okay, reinforcements coming in for some of the Allied units. And more destroyers are attacking our submarine. This is an experienced sub. It only has 1 health point left, though. Meanwhile, more Royal Navy carriers are striking all over the board. And the Java Sea as well. We've got the Dutch fleet as well as some enemy carriers. Dutch submarines, more Dutch cruisers. The game really gives the Dutch Navy quite a few cruisers. That seems a little... I don't know if I'd call that authentic. Oh, no, we lost our recon unit. I don't know how authentic. Oh, no, they just destroyed that submarine. Fuck! The Royal Navy's sweeping the clear, or the Royal Air Force is sweeping the seas clear of our submarines in port. Fuck. Well, that was a disastrous turn. The Kriegsmarine is gone, basically. It's not like we'd need a navy to throw back an enemy invasion of Europe at all. Alright, some engineers. Soviet motorized. British units are now attacking in China. There's a British army operating to the east of Kunming in China. This is not historical at all. Fighting in Finland. Okay. Looks like they're maybe trying to break out. I mean, they did drive the Italian unit there on their border back, but all they did was drive it further away, creating a bigger pocket for them. Soviet armor is punishing us a bit. Light Soviet tanks attempt to give the Italians a bloody nose, but to no effect. Okay. No, more armor. Okay. And there's a kid screaming above me. Wow. He's having a temper tantrum. Alright, so let's see what's going on. Hopefully this turn's almost over for the enemy and they're not going to do any more damage to us. They're trying to cut off our own pocket there. Looks like they're coming pretty close. Now they're raiding Narvik. British commandos raiding everything in the world. Hindering supply in Crete. And that should do it for a turn. Well, that was an interesting turn, to say the least. We lost 3 subs. We lost a recon unit destroyed. Quite a bit of partisan activity. Still doing some damage to the Soviet supply line there. U-boats at Kiel. No, I see no reason to... I mean, yeah, I could get another U-boat unit, but I see no reason to spend money on sending U-boats to the Baltic, or Black Sea. Do we want to complete it as a battleship or an aircraft carrier? Yes, I'm going to complete that as a battleship. Historically, they switched it over to a carrier, but I would rather complete it as a battleship. I feel like battleships are actually very useful in this game. Okay. Alright, so our new units are deployed there. Meanwhile, let's go back to Europe. That was where I was the most concerned here. So it looks like they're trying to cut our pocket off. They didn't manage to do it yet, but we're in kind of a precarious situation here. These guys need to reinforce. They can't reinforce enough, I don't think, to survive. I also don't really have anything to counter this armor with, so I think we're just going to reinforce them anyway, except they're probably going to die. And then let's see if we can quickly reduce the pocket, so then we can deal with this Soviet armored unit up here. One of the things I like is as you upgrade units, you get different icons for the units, so it kind of reflects like, these are the early war sort of Soviet light tanks that look like crap. Here's sort of an upgraded Soviet tank that looks more like a T-34. Meanwhile, these look more like the KV model tanks. I think that's kind of a cool little touch. This armor needs to reinforce, but we can't do a full reinforcement, which is kind of frustrating. So we're going to go with our mechanized units here against their tanks. Nice. Alright, so we successfully destroyed that Soviet armored unit. I'd like to go against their fighters here if I can get another unit on there to destroy it. Alright, heavy armor. Alright, we're gonna hit it with our mech. Nice. Alright. So we're gonna destroy that enemy air unit. And I don't think we're gonna be able to get that tank as it runs away. Yeah, there's just no way we're going to get to it this turn. That's okay. These guys need to reinforce. Can they reinforce more? No. No, they can't. I mean, it's better now that we know for sure it won't be destroyed. Well, we don't know for sure. Theoretically, it could be destroyed. Okay, so we destroyed one Russian tank, one Russian air unit, and we drove back a shock unit. Let's get these... Also, I think that means their bombers won't be on us this turn. Looks like the only thing that our air can really reach here is Orel, so we'll focus on that. We'll keep moving our air units forward here to try and keep up with the front lines. Meanwhile, we'll get them some experience by bombing the fronts. Okay. Got this tank back here. Nice. Our Stukas are going to be pretty effective here. They might actually knock this enemy unit out. Nice. We took Orel without a casualty on our ground units. Alright, these fighters are going to upgrade. Actually, let's wait on some of these upgrades here. Brzezinsk, get them a little bit closer to the front. Move this infantry south. These guys will move through Orel. Alright, we're going to force march these guys to the front. So we've got a solid flank here. Not fully strength units, but better than what we had before. Let's see if we can reduce this pocket a little bit more effectively now. Let's move these guys over here. Okay. Alright, very good. I'll move this armor in here. See if we can take Kharkov. I'm going to go for Kharkov. Or Krakow, sorry, that's what it is. Because if I take that, then the enemy won't have supply. So that's really my focus. Alright, so we took the city. That means these guys will have no supply next turn if we even if they're still around. I really should have used my tactical bombers there, which I didn't. Can we move some of these units? Alright, 3 reinforcements isn't bad for those Italian troops. We'll bring this headquarters forward. Interceptors and escorts. Oh my. Jeez. Italian bombers, not as good as German bombers. Alright, let's move these guys forward. I don't know if actually stationing them in a city is a big perk or not. Alright, so the only way we can do that, probably assure that we destroy this unit, is if we pull one of these units down. Alright, so I think we'll actually leave these guys as is. Let's also reinforce, well, unless, so can any of these units move? These can move here. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. I think we'll just let them kind of be, and we'll reinforce this guy too. I think we'll let these guys be up here, and if the Russians want to reinforce them, that's fine. They're just going to get killed next turn anyway. Yeah. Okay, so I think the Russian front is mostly done. Can we reinforce these guys more? Love to get them back to full strength. We can. We also upgrade these guys before they come to the front. We might as well. Alright, meanwhile, I don't think any of these units can upgrade. We did research a new infantry weapon, didn't we? Didn't we get to level 2? We did. Okay. So some of these units can reinforce with it, and some of them can't, or some of them can upgrade to it, and some of them can't. But I do want to upgrade these guys. I want to upgrade all of these guys if I can. So this is a good opportunity, because not all these guys made it to the front. So I'm going to try and get I think if you're on the front, you can't upgrade your unit like that. But the good news... Ooh, no. And the good news is several of those infantry units were not on the front and can upgrade. So I'm skimping a little bit on air defense and mobility, just because kind of feedback from some of the folks on the channel is that those aren't as valuable. But yeah. Alright, so let's swap these guys out so they can upgrade next turn. Same for these guys. I'm assuming if they're back off the front line or closer to like a headquarters or something, they'll be able to upgrade. These guys can upgrade. Very good. These guys probably need to be in better supply. We can take Rzhev for free. And maybe we can upgrade there? I don't know, the enemy might launch a counterattack from there. I just advanced like I way too far, just on the off chance that he'd do serious damage to an enemy fighter unit there. We'll pull these guys back to Vlbisk. I'm not really too worried about this northern front. I'm not trying to push too hard, so that's kind of why I'm willing to pull some of these guys back. The only reason this unit's going to maintain a forward position is so that they can only bring one, a front with a width of 1 against them. Okay. Great. No damage. Alright, so these guys are still somehow in supply. More interceptors. Yikes, they really did a number on our fighters there. I mean, honestly, if they want to advance there, that's just going to put them in worse position that we can easily counterattack. Like, if they put a unit here, it's just asking to get destroyed. So, I know I've got a little bit of border gore over here, but I'm fine with that. Alright, let's operate some units. Let's get a little bit better supply. I think we've got enough headquarters on the right. Let's get a little bit better supply here. So we'll move that headquarter unit forward. I don't think we have a Romanian headquarter. If we do, it's down here. So we'll move this fighter south. Oh yeah, he's down here. Okay. And then do we move these guys on the... I don't think we actually move these guys. Nice, we can get our tank back to full strength. And I'm going to pull back this infantry unit so it can reinforce. And if they want to advance into Mersa, Metril, or whatever it's called, that's fine. You're just going to die. Go for it. We'll reinforce our fighter escort. Yeah, so that's going to do that for that turn. The Italian Navy, meanwhile, is going to just go try and harass this convoy route. Oh, shoot. We'll turn it to a raider mode. Meanwhile, I am going to spend some money reinforcing our aircraft on this fighter. It's going to cost a lot of money, but we'll do it. Same for our battleships here. I do want to try and give the enemy a bit of a headache in the north, in the Atlantic, so everything we can do to help that. Okay. Alright, what about our... Alright, so we've got subs up here. We'll keep them... We'll move them a little bit. Keep the enemy guessing. Man, the interior of our empire is so hollow right now. Let's move these cruisers. Let's destroy a maker. No, it can't. Alright, so Italy has 154 points left, but we're going to save that. Move this battleship down here. And I think that does it for Europe. So now we just have to move to Asia. Try and do some damage to these British Special Forces. More British troops, Indian troops keep pouring in to the Chinese theater. That's a bit concerning. Right, these guys just moved into Nanning. They're not dug in. Okay, we'll move these guys over here. Alright, so I guess I do have to go attack bombing on them. I was going to try and keep my troops hitting Chongqing, kind of get the best of both worlds, but it doesn't look like that's feasible without ensuring that we do neither of what we want, destroy neither city. So we'll try and reduce Sian first. Okay. 3 supply, I'm assuming, is what it hit. Okay, I think everybody else moved. I'm going to fighter strafe him, I guess. The morale has to be low, it's 6%. And there you have it, we destroyed him. And the city of Sian is ours. Let's see if we can finish off these commies. Shit. I don't know why I did that. Huh. Alright, so we couldn't quite finish the communists off there. Let's see, these guys move forward. These Chinese troops are, or these Japanese troops are super experienced now. Wow. Almost got that guy. Oh, we can finish him. Got him. Alright, so we destroyed another Chinese unit here to the south of Sian. Meanwhile, our air force is all exhausted. We can't continue the attacks on... or we can't attack Chungking. Unfortunately. Can we reinforce these guys? We can. Alright, we'll do that. Can we upgrade these guys? Any of them? No? No. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna move 2 armies forward there. Alright, that does it for China this turn, I think. Maybe not. Eh. Alright, so that does it for China this turn. We'll get these guys on the rail line. Move some of these bombers south, obviously with the objective of hitting the enemy capital. Next turn. Alright. Okay, some more British troops are pouring into China here. That's kind of a concern, but, well, something we gotta deal with. Can we drive these guys back once and for all? Ah, we almost got them. Enemy contact. Shit. I think I did a lot of damage. I don't think I'm gonna accomplish much with my fleet down here. Maybe we can knock out this sub. So we'll bring that transport over to deal with the enemy, land more troops in the next turn or two. Nice. Alright, we got some damage on it. It did dive from attack, but we at least did something. Bring our carriers over. I think we're about done with this turn. These guys already moved. Oh, no, they didn't. This battleship needs to go back to Japan for repairs. This destroyer could use some repairs as well. Let's do this though. Let's research mobility for Japan because we really need that in China. And I'm actually, oh, we don't have enough money. I was gonna say I was gonna put 2 behind it, but we don't have the funds. How do we do this turn on losses? Soviet losses for MPP was again very high. Not quite as disastrous as last turn, but still over 1,300 MPPs of damage. They're not replacing that in a single turn. The German losses were actually manageable last turn, below the income. So that's good. The British losses, meanwhile, not really anything this turn. So, yeah, there's that. The Japanese losses are a little bit this turn, not huge. But around replacement level. The Chinese losses are just, it's astounding what kind of casualties they take and what little income they have. Their units must be dirt cheap for them to be able to do that. With that being said, let's go ahead and reinforce that destroyer. American sub is over that way. And let's see. We've got this long-range transport. I mean, there's always the risk we're going to run into an American sub as we move these troops around, but looks like actually the bulk of the Dutch fleet is down here in the south. Forgot about that. Alright. See about torpedoing them. We'll pull back to port. See if we can swing around and take Port Moresby. Don't we have a sub down here? Yeah, we do. Whoa! What is that? 3rd Marine Division tanks? We just destroyed Marines at sea! Hurrah! Hurrah! Alright, so we just destroyed an American unit at sea. That's nice, because we really haven't had much of a chance to do much against the Americans. That'll help delay their build-up, maybe. Alright. I really don't know. I don't have very good weapons for dealing with enemy subs, but hopefully with all this power we can break through in Malaya next turn. Do we have any supplies? No, we don't. These guys have no supply. Oh, they do have some supplies. I don't know how, but they have some supplies. So maybe it's because they're special landing force tank troops. I'm not sure. Alright, so... Interesting. I feel like some of my units can start advancing into more rough terrain. I haven't researched anything to let them do that, but... Alright, so these guys' supply will probably be bad after losing Sian. Let's go ahead and end this turn, I think. This was a little bit of a shorter video, guys. Sorry, I was kind of mumbling to myself for a fair bit of it, but I think things are going reasonably well now in China's Japan. Which is the big caveat is it looks like the British are pouring Indian troops in through Kunming, which is a problem. I think if we take Chongqing, the capital moves out here to Langkao, so we'll have to keep this force here in Sian. They've already cleared the main defensive barrier between them. We'll just have to keep driving west. Maybe we can knock the Chinese communists out of the war as well. Their capital's here. And then if we take Langkao, I think their capital actually still moves back to Umarkai, back there in the far west, and then that's it. So their capital moves multiple times. We'll have to figure out how we're going to deal with that. With that being said, guys, it looks like the train gets a little bit flatter, so it might be easier to drive west. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you're enjoying this series. Let me know your thoughts below, as always. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.